Matovu, Ohaneha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael, Vani tefilati lacha, Adonai Echason, Elohim Barov Chasecha, Elohim Barov Chasecha, Aneni Be'emet Yishecha, Matovu, Matovu, Ohaneha Yaakov, Mishkanotecha Yisrael, Matovu, Matovu, Ohaneha Yaakov, Mishkanotecha Yisrael. Please be seated. I meant to say it's lovely to have Joy with us back for the first time in, say, 6 weeks? Yeah. Longer? Hill of Falls. It's so nice to have you here. It's really, really lovely. We're on the bottom of page 129. Source of light, of truth, and of the impulse within us towards justice and mercy. May this hour of worship, roughly an hour, be one of vision and inspiration. Help us to find knowledge by which to live. Let the words we speak enter our hearts and influence our lives. Bless all who enter the sanctuary in search of you or in need of comfort and consolation. May the offering of their hearts be acceptable to you or our hearts, and may the prayers that we utter here bear fruit in acts of kindness, peace, and love. If we say the blessing in Hebrew on page 130, it's the blessing for Torah study. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. With what shall I approach the Eternal One?
How shall I worship the God of heaven?
Shall I come before God with burnt offerings?
Or with kneeling calves?
Will God be pleased with thousands of rams?
Or with 10,000 rivers of oil?
Shall I give my firstborn for my transgressions?
The fruit of my body for the sins of my soul.
People tell you what is good, but what does the Eternal One require of you?
Only to do justly and love mercy and walk humbly with your God.
This is a great kind of Talmudic text, which is like really kind of called up kind of Jewish ethical vision, I think, in a nutshell. These are actions which bring benefit here and now, but whose full value can be measured only in the light of eternity. Honouring one's father and mother, acts of love and kindness, diligent pursuit of knowledge and wisdom, hospitality to strangers, visiting the sick, enabling bride and groom to rejoice, consoling the bereaved, praying with sincerity, and making peace where there is strife, and the study of Torah leads to them all. Eternal God,
may the words of Torah taste sweet to us and to all Israel, that we and our children and all children of people may come to you and study Torah.
Baruch atah Adonai, hamelamed Torah la'amo Yisrael. On page 132. Baruch shama b'haya olam baruch hu. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, המוכלה לפי עמו, משובח מפורם בשל חסידו ועבדיו. משפחות ותמירות נגדלך ולמניחה, וכנו יחידכי העולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, מלך מחולל בתשבחות. Please again read responsively. Sing for joy to the Eternal One, you who are righteous.
For the upright do well to give praise.
Give thanks to the Eternal One with a lyre.
Make music to God with a 10-stringed harp.
Sing to God a new song.
Make melody shouts of joy.
God's word holds good.
God's every deed is done in faithfulness.
The Eternal One loves righteousness and justice.
And the earth is full of God's kindness.
By the Eternal One's word, hell is made.
And all their hosts by the breath of God's mouth.
At the divine command, the ocean waves rise.
All gathering strengthen the waters of the deep.
Let all the earth revere the Eternal One.
Let all the world stand in awe of God.
Whose spoke, and it was. How shall I? And feel free to join in at any point. I don't mind. I'm not precious. It's up to you. How shall I sing of day and night when it is God who formed them? How shall I sing of heaven and earth when it is God who founded them? How shall I sing of mountains and hills when it is God who planted them? How shall I sing of deserts and seas when it is God who begot them? How shall I sing of earth and her fullness when it is God who bade them be? I shall sing of the one who fashioned them all, the one who is above them all, of God, God alone I sing. The bottom page 134 is a very easy one to pick up if you don't know it. Hallelujah, 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 El Bekocho, hallelujah, Bakir Ha'uzon, hallelujah, Big Furatav, hallelujah, Kavod, good Lord, hallelujah, 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 v'teka shofar, hallelujah, v'nevel v'chinor, hallelujah, v'tof u'machol, hallelujah, v'minim v'ugav, hallelujah, 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 b'silsilei shlama, hallelujah, b'silsilei truah, kohan shama, techaleliyah, hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Please rise. Yishtabak Shimcha le'admatenu, ha'el ha'malek ha'kadosh ha'kadosh b'shamayim u'ba'aretz, ki l'chama Adonai Eloheinu, Elohei avoteinu, shi'u shvacha, halel v'zimra, merachot v'hodot, me'atar yad olam, Baruch atah Adonai, abohem b'shirei zimra. We come to the Baruch Hu, the call to prayer, and we just do a nigun that we then use for the response. If I say please stand and you're not feeling up to it, Joy, I was thinking particularly of anyone else, then ignore me. Just do what you need to do. So we're top of page 136. Let's read together in Hebrew, if possible, on page 136. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzei or uvrei choshech, oseh shalom uvrei et hakol, hame'ir la'aretz u'darim alecha berachamim, u'tuvo machadesh b'chol yom tamid ma'aseh bereshit. Ma'arahu ma'asecha, v'ram chochma asita, v'la'ach ha'aretz yimenecha, titbarach Adonai Eloheinu, ma'aseh yadecha, v'anurei or she'asita, yifaruk ha'sela, Baruch atah Adonai, yotzei hamorot. Great is your love for us, eternal God, and abundant your compassion. Our ancestors trusted in you, and you taught them the laws of life. To be gracious to us and teach us. Incline our hearts to hear your words, to know, to understand, to learn and to teach, and with love to uphold the truths of your Torah. Enlighten us with your teaching, make us faithful to your commandments, and wholehearted in the love and awe of your name. In love you summon us to serve you and proclaim your unity. Baruch atah Adonai, havoher ba'amo Yisrael, b'acharva. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem, Baruch Malchuto, Le'olam va'ed. Please chant with me if you know it. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, B'chol ravcha, b'chol nafshecha, u'b'chol oadecha, v'hayu ha'dvarim ha'ele, asher Elohim tzavcha, hayom al vavecha, v'shinantam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, v'shivtecha b'beitecha, Uvlektacha b'derech, uvshokbacha uvgumecha, uvshatam le'ot al yadecha, v'hayu letotafot bein einecha, uvtaftam al mezuzot beitecha, uvisharecha. Please be seated, or on page 138. Laman tizkaru, vasitem et kol mitzvotai, item kedoshim lelohechem, ani Adonai Elohechem, asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, liot lachem Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem. Let's read together in English. It's the last paragraph of 138. Good and beautiful and true, sound established and enduring are these words now and forever. True is eternal love, which you are sovereign God and Redeemer, as you are God and Redeemer of our ancestors. You are our Maker, the rock of our salvation. We have known you always as our helper and our liberator. There is no God but you. Truly you are first and you are last. We have no Redeemer but you. You redeemed us from Egypt, you freed us from the house of bondage. And then with great joy, Moses, Miriam, and all Israel together sang to your song. Chamocha Bailim, Bailim Adonai, Miucha Netaba Kodesh, Nora Tehilot, Osei Felei Shira Chadasha, Shipchu Golim Leshimcha Azvat Hayam Yachad Kulam Hodu V'chimlichu Hodu V'chimlichu Ve'amru Adonai Yimlok Le'olam Va'ed, Adonai Yimlok Le'olam Va'ed. Sur Yisrael Kuma Bezrat Yisrael, Go Aleinu Adonai Tzevaot Shemo Kadosh Yisrael, Baruch Atah Adonai God Yisrael, God Yisrael. Amen. Please rise to Amidah. We'll be carrying on chanting various things, but you don't have to know the tune that started it. If you join in, you'll know the tune by the end of it, I promise. 140. Adonai Sefer Tiftach Ufi Agita Gilateh. Adonai Sefer Tiftach Ufi Agita Gilateh. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rahel, Elohei Leah, El Hagadol, Haribo, Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hagol, V'zocher Chaser Kol Imachos, ומביא כולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומשיח ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי מתים מטרה מושיע. משיב הרוח ומביט הגשם, מזגיח השמש ומריד האטר, מחכה חיים בחסד, וחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, סומק נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך על גבורות ומי דומה לה, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיע ישועה, ונאמנתה לחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים. We sanctify your name on earth as it is in the prophet's vision. The hosts of heaven sing your praise above, for so it is written. Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh Adonai Tzevaot, Melech kol haaretz, Kavodo Malei Olam. Baruch Kavod Adonai Mimkomo. Mimkomcha makim tofiach, Yimloch Aleinu, Ki machakim anachnu la. Yimloch Adonai leolam, Elohai Yixion, Ovado, Hallelujah. Le Dovato, nagid God lecha. Le Dovato, nagid God lecha. Ulenetzachim kedushatcha nakdish. V'shichacha elevenu mipinu lo yamush leolam va'ed. Le Dovato, nagid God lecha. Le Dovato, nagid God lecha. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el ha'kadosh. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el ha'kadosh. Please be seated. We'll read together in English now. You inspired our ancestors to hallow this day for your service. When upon its coming we pause to contemplate our life, we learn anew that we do not live by bread alone, but also by the spiritual nourishment we receive when we open ourselves to your influence. We thank you for the Sabbath day. We thank you for its joy and for its peace. May our worship help us to take into our hearts its message of deliverance and consecrate all our days by declaration of what is true, beautiful, and good. Yismachu b'malchutcha, shomrei Shabbat, v'korei oneg, amakadshesh Shavi'i, kulam yispahu v'yitzu becha, v'hashvi rasita bo v'kidash to, v'hashvi rasita bo v'kidash to. Chendat yamim oto kalata zecher lamaaseh v'reishit. I know that version seems slightly different to what you've done for many years. I think that's the version I grew up with. I've checked the sources. I think that is the original. So we might have. I might shift you in that direction. I apologise. Going forward. Hopefully, yes. In English together then, on the bottom of page 143. Our God and God of our ancestors,
may our rest on this day be pleasing in your sight. Sanctify us by your commandments, and make us loyal to your teachings. Sanctify us with your witness, grant us your salvation, and purify our hearts to serve you in truth. Your gracious love, eternal one, that the holiness of the Sabbath enter our hearts. May always show the power of your name, exalted by us peace.
Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Let's read the English and then the bracha in Hebrew. Eternal God, be gracious to your people Israel,
and in your love accept their prayers. May our worship now and always be acceptable in your sight.
Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levadcha b'yirah na'avod. We give thanks that you, Eternal One, are our God, as you are the God of our ancestors. You are the rock of our life, the God that shields us in every age. We thank and praise you for our lives, Sim, sim, sim shalom, sim shalom tova uvracha. Sim, sim, sim shalom tova uvracha. En v'chesed v'rachamim aleinu ve'yakol Yisrael amecha. Sim, sim, sim shalom tova uvracha. Sim, sim, sim shalom tova uvracha. V'cheinu avinu kulanu ka'echa be'or panecha, ki be'or panecha netata lanu Adonai Eloheinu. Sim, sim, sim shalom tova uvracha. Sim, sim, sim shalom tova uvracha. Torah chayim ve'ahavat chesed tzedaka v'racha, v'rachamim v'chayim v'shalom. Sim, sim, sim shalom tova uvracha. Sim, sim, sim shalom tova uvracha. V'tov b'necha levacha et am Yisrael ve'at kol ha'amim v'chol eit uv'chosha b'shlomecha. Sim, sim, sim shalom tova uvracha. Sim, sim, sim shalom tova uvracha. Let's take a few moments of silence to either read the prayer at the bottom of page 145 or to just have some time for your own voice. Shalom bimrama, uyase shalom aleinu, ve'yakol Yisrael, ve'yakol b'nei Adam. I always love the sounds of the silence. Whatever sounds we get are the right sounds. So don't never be embarrassed. It's absolutely fun. It's really lovely. And lovely to have you all here. We have reached our Torah service. I'm not going to do the theme. So the Torah service, I believe, is on page 481. My tradition was always to rise at the beginning of this, but I know that the liberal Siddur says you should rise after Ein Kamocha. So it is entirely up to you. You can rise whether you like it, the service, really. I never mind, up and down. It's always good. So we're on page 481. 481. And we have some ark openers.
We've got a few ark openers.
Great. Oh, amazing. This is going to be the best ark opening ever.
The most chaotic ever.
What are your names? Say again? Theo. Hi Theo, what's your name? Esme. Hi Theo and Esme, it's lovely to have you opening the ark. Really lovely.
You'd be so glad. I'll see you again.
I will, I promise. In Kamocha v'Elohim Adonai Bein Kamaseha Malchutecha Malchut Kol Olamim U'Memshaltecha B'Kol Dor V'Dor Adonai Melech Adonai Malach Adonai Yimloch Le'olam Va'ed Adonai Oz Le'olam Yitzhen Adonai Yavarech Et Hamo V'Shalom. Yeah, I think these guys should get to hold and maybe take out some little scrolls as well. So we take out some more scrolls. That would be really, really nice. Don't forget one as well, Esme.
Jim, you happy, sir?
Now we've got lots of scrolls on show, which is even better. The more scrolls, the better, I think. Beautiful. Yeah, if you get the big one, Kevin. Because
thank you. It's one with, I've now set, because that's what I was told to set at the beginning. Yeah,
I'm not doing Huckbird, I don't know. I would have chosen that. I did what I was told, like a good service in, right? We're on page 481. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo, Gadol Adonai Iti, Urma Shemo Yavdav. Lacha Adonai HaGedula VaHaGevura VaHaNetzav Kicha B'Shamayim U'Ba'aretz Lacha Adonai HaMamlacha VaMitnaseh L'Chol HaRosh Romamu Adonai Eloheinu it doesn't go, does it? Say L'Chol HaRosh. Trouble with leading services in different denominations that you occasionally forget which is in which book, and that one it stops there. I apologise. Thank you very, very much. You want to keep hold of those, and when it comes to the holding up the scroll, we'll hold those up as well. Yeah. You want to sit down? Keep sit down. Brilliant. Great. Lots of help. Please sit down, everybody. So, today we're reading from Parashat Tetzaveh. And Tetzaveh it's one of these sequence of Torah readings which is, shall I say, some of the more drier sections of the Torah. It deals with the Mishkan, which was the kind of portable temple, if you like, portable tent in the wilderness where they have all their services. And for a portable tent, it's very, very ornate. There's lots of bells and lights and lots of poles, and it's not your pop-up job. for Glastonbury. This is a serious endeavour. And we learn about all the different details, and today we learn about some of the clothes, mostly the high priest had to wear, Aaron the high priest. So it's not like the big story sections, the kind of highlights of the Torah, but I think there's interesting stuff to draw out, which I'll try to draw out in a minute. Okay, so if you want to follow it, which I'm sure you do, you very keen to follow people, it's we're on Exodus chapter 28, verse 15. And in the Swansea it can be found on page 522. 522. I have not researched what page it can be found on any other books.
It's 128.
Thank you very much. Appreciated. Appreciated. I think it's nice if someone, or some people, do an aliyah, because that's nice. Does anybody fancy it? You want to do the... You don't have to.
No pressure.
No pressure.
If you, it's there. If you don't, I've got it in English if you're not comfortable with it.
Baruch et Adonai Hamarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher bachar banu mechol ha'amin natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ha'torah.
Stay up. That's all right. You can check my mistakes because they could easily happen. Actually, I'm just gonna. Sorry, I just need to move these. Ma'asita choshen mishpat ma'aseh choshev. Kama'aseh. Sorry, yeah. Yes. Kama'aseh efod ta'asenu. Zachar tahelet va'agaman. To'alat sheni. Have I started the right place? Yes. To'alat sheni v'shesh u'mosar ta'aseh oto. גבוה יהיה כפול, זרת עכו וזרת רוחבו, מלאת בו מלואת אבן, 4 טורים אבן, טור אדום פיתה וברקת הטור האחד. הטור השני מפק ספיר יחלום, הטור השישי לשם שבוע ההחלמה, הטור הרביעי תשיש שיחון ישפה משפצים זכר ויהיו במלואתם. הבנים תהיין על שמות בני ישראל 12 על שמותם. פיתוחי חותם איש על שמו תהיין 12 שבט. ועשית על החושן שרשות גבלות מעשה אבות זכר תחור. ועשית על החושן 2 טבעות זכר. נתת על 2 טבעות על 2 קצות החושן. נתת את 2 עבותות הזהב על 2 הטבעות על קצות החושן. ואת 2 קצות 2 עבותות תיתן על 2 משבצות. נתת על כתפות האפוד אל מול פניו. ועשית 2 טבעות זהב ושמת אותם על 2 קצות החושן. על סרטו שעל עבר האפוד ביתה. ועשית 2 טבעות זהב, נתת אותם על 2 כתפות האפוד מלמטה. ממול פניו לאומה מחברתו, ממעל לחושב האפוד. ויקסו את החושן מטבעתו אל טבעת האפוד, בפתיל תכלת לחיות על חושב האפוד, ולא יזך החושן מעל האפוד. נשא אהרון את שמות בני ישראל בחושן המשפט, על ליבו בבואו אל הקודש, זיכרון לפני אדוני תמיד. נתת אל חושן המשפט. את ההורים ואת התאומים יהיו על לב אהרון בבואו לפני אדוני. נשא אהרון את משפט בני ישראל על ליבו לפני אדוני תמיד. And I meant to read the translation beforehand and I forgot, so we're going to read the translation now. And you shall make a breastplate of judgment. the work of skilled workmen, like the work of the ephod you shall make it. Of gold and blue and purple and scarlet, and fine twined linen you shall make it. 4 square it shall be in double. A span shall be the length thereof, and a span the breadth thereof. And you shall set in it settings of stones, 4 rows of stones, a rows of carnelian, topaz, and smaragd. I'm okay with the Hebrew, the English. It's tricky. Shall be the first row. And the second row, a carbuncle, a sapphire, and an emerald. And the third row, jacinth, an agate, and an amethyst. And the fourth row, a beryl, and an onyx, and jasper. They shall be enclosed in gold in their settings. And the stones shall be according to the names of the children of Israel, 12 according to their names, like the engravings of a signet, each one according to his name. And they shall be for the 12 tribes. And you shall make upon the breastplate plaited got chains of wreathen work, of pure gold. And you shall make upon the breastplate 2 rings of gold, and you'll put the 2 rings on the 2 ends of the breastplate. And you shall put 2 wreathen gold chains of gold on the 2 rings at the ends of the breastplate. On the other 2 ends of the 2 wreathen chains you shall put on the 2 settings, and put them on the shoulder pieces of the ephod, in the forepart thereof. And you shall make 2 rings of gold, and you shall put them on the 2 ends of the breastplate, upon the edge thereof, which is toward the side of the ephod inward. And you shall make the 2 rings of gold, and you shall put them on the 2 shoulder pieces of the ephod underneath, in the forepart thereof, close by the coupling thereof, above the skillfully woven band of the ephod. And they shall bind the breastplate with the rings thereof unto the rings of the ephod with a thread of blue. It may be upon the skillfully woven band of the ephod, and the breastplate be not loose from the ephod. And Aaron shall bear the names of the children of Israel, and the breastplate of judgment upon his heart, when he goes into the holy place, for a memorial before the Lord continually. And you shall put in the breastplate of judgment the Urim and the Thummim, and they shall be upon Aaron's heart, when he goes in before the Lord. And Aaron shall bear the judgment of the children of the Lord upon his heart before the Lord continually.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech ha'olam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tor feinu. Baruch atah Adonai, natain ha'torah.
Please rise, and we'll lift this up, and we can lift your scrolls up as well, maybe at the same time. Good luck, Kevin.
Thank you. I need
Baruch Shenatan Torah Le'amo Yisrael B'Kedushato. It's very impressive. Thank you for your help. That was brilliant.
Yeah, thank you.
That made it much more dramatic. Please be seated, everybody. Do we have a Haftorah reader?
We do, Linda.
Thank you very
She's
much.
got a bed with us last week.
We normally use a smaller one, right?
Yes. Yes, somehow we kind of got to like make until next week and hopefully no. You go to
This is what the rabbinical school are all about for 5 years. How you get these things on time. There's lots of that.
Right, the Haftarah this morning is Ezekiel chapter 43 verses 10 to 27. Can be found in the Sonsino Chumash on page 536 and in the JPS Tanakh on page 969. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher b'chadim v'im tovim v'ratzah b'divraychem ha'ne'emarim le'emet. Baruch atah Adonai ha'boher b'torah v'Moshe avdo v'Yisrael amo v'Nvi'ei ha'emet v'tzedek. Now you, O mortal, describe the temple to the house of Israel, and let them measure its design, but let them be ashamed of their iniquities. When they are ashamed of all they have done, make known to them the plan of the temple and its layout, its exits and entrances, its entire plan, and all the laws and instructions pertaining to its entire plan. Write it down before their eyes, that they may faithfully follow its entire plan and all its laws. Such are the instructions for the temple on top of the mountain. The entire area of its enclosure shall be most holy. Thus far the instructions for the temple. And these are the dimensions of the altar in cubits, where each is a cubit and a handbreadth. The trench shall be a cubit deep, and a cubit wide, with a rim 1 span high around its edge. And the height shall be as follows: from the trench in the ground to the lower ledge, which shall be a cubit wide, 2 cubits. From the lower ledge to the upper ledge, which shall likewise be a cubit wide, 4 cubits. And the height of the altar hearth shall be 4 cubits, with 4 horns projecting upward from the hearth, 4 cubits. Now the hearth shall be 12 cubits long and 12 broad, square, with 4 equal sides. Hence the upper base shall be 14 cubits broad, with 4 equal sides. The surrounding rim shall be half a cubit high, and the surrounding trench shall measure 1 cubit, and the ramp shall face east. Then he said to me, O mortal, thus said the Lord God, these are the directions for the altar on the day it is erected, so that burnt offerings may be offered up on it, and blood dashed against it. You shall give to the Levitical priests who are of the stock of Zadok, and so eligible to minister to me, declares the Lord God, a young bull of the herd for a sin offering. You shall take some of its blood and apply it to the 4 horns of the altar, to the 4 corners of the base, and to the surrounding rim. Thus you shall purge it, and perform purification upon it. Then you shall take the bull of sin offering and burn it in the designated area of the temple outside the sanctuary. On the following day you shall offer a goat without blemish as a sin offering, and the altar shall be purged with it, just as it was purged with the bull. When you have completed the ritual of purging, you shall offer a bull of the herd without blemish and a ram of the flock without blemish. Offer them to the Lord. Let the priests throw salt on them, and offer them up as a burnt offering to the Lord. Every day, for 7 days, you shall present a goat of skin offering, as well as a bull of the herd and a ram of the flock. You shall present unblemished ones. 7 days they shall purge the altar and cleanse it. Thus shall it be consecrated. And when these days are over, then from the 8th day onward, the priest shall offer your burnt offerings and your offerings of well-being on the altar, and I will extend my favour to you, declares the Lord God. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, sur kol ha'olamim, tzadik b'kol hadorot, ha'el ha'ne'eman, ha'omer v'oseh, ha'medaber v'kayem shekol devarav emet v'tzedek, al ha'torah v'al ha'avodah v'al ha'nviim v'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh, שנתת לנו אדוני אלוהינו לקדושה ולמלוכה, לכבוד ולתפארת. על הכל אדוני אלוהינו אנחנו מודים לך. ובורכים אותך כי ברך שמך בפי כל חי, תמיד לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
So the Torah is all about the tent, and the Torah is all about the temple. And Haftarah often tries to get you to read the Torah in a certain way. Haftarah is a commentary that's pushing you in a certain direction to say, well, really that was all about the temple. But I think there's something about the Mishkan which is about temporary and carrying the Torah with us, which is more like our lives now, whereas the temple was something kind of very fixed and very centralised, which seems to me a little different. Just a thought. So we are now on the page 484, and in recent weeks we've had a tradition of having members of the community say these prayers, which I think is a nice tradition. Not least because they're some of the most recent prayers, they're very modern. Particularly the prayer for the State of England was pretty much introduced when Jews were readmitted to England in the 17th century, and Manasseh ben Israel's petition to Oliver Cromwell basically says, if you let us in, we'll say prayers for you guys every week. It's like, yeah, fine, okay, it's a deal. So no, that's the basis of our existence. So would somebody like to read the prayer for the state to start with?
Eternal God, whose dominion embraces the universe, we ask your blessing for our Sovereign Lady, Queen Elizabeth, and all the royal family, for those who govern our country and all who influence the quality of its national life. make them conscious of their responsibility and teach them to exercise it in accordance with your will. May we all help to fashion in this country a society that excels in freedom and justice, tolerance and compassion, so that we be a force for righteousness and peace in the life of humanity. Eternal God, as you blessed our ancestors in generations past, bless this congregation, its leaders and its members, and all who enter this synagogue to meet and study and to pray. Comfort the sorrowing hearts among us, and heal those in anxiety or pain. I think this is where we...
Is there anybody that we know of that's ill at the moment and in need of healing? I'd like to mention their names
My
now.
husband, Ray.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
And Colin Oaken, a very good friend.
Our son, Mike.
Ah, thank you.
And Colin Oaken, a very good friend of mine, who's suffered from stroke.
Gosh, I'm sorry to hear that.
And a friend called Judy, who has just been diagnosed with cancer. And our friend Rosita Rosenberg had strokes.
Oh,
God.
And a friend of mine, Hilary Granger, his kidney problems. My dad.
Our thoughts are with all those people, and we wish for everyone that's possible a refuah shalema, complete recovery, and for those that it's not possible, the most comfortable time and the most joy and the most happiness that they can have in this time. So our thoughts with all those people. Thank you for sharing them. May we all find here community and friendship, renewal of purpose and hope, a deeper understanding of our heritage, and a sense of your abiding present. Bless all congregations of the House of Israel throughout the world. Let all those who live under oppressive rule soon be freed, and may we all unite to witness your truth and to do your will. Would someone like to read the prayer?
Eternal God, our rock and redeemer, grant blessing to the state of Israel, created to fill an age-old dream and to be a haven for the oppressed. Inspire its leaders and citizens with faithfulness to the aims of its founders, to develop the land for the benefit of all its inhabitants, and to implement prophetic ideals of liberty and justice. May they live in harmony with one another and in peace with their neighbours, and cause the country once more the ancient vision that out of Zion should go forth Torah and the word of God from Jews.
Thank you. Amen. So, the bottom of page 486 now. Hallelujah, Shem Adonai, Ki niskav Shemo levado. Hodo al eretz v'shamayim v'yarem keren me'amo tehila l'chol chasidav livnei Yisrael am grovo. Hallelujah, hallelujah. And then on page 489. Lecha tov natati lahem, Torati atazavu, Eitz hayim lemachachatikim v'tomachecha meusha, Darechecha dahenoam, v'kol metziyotecha Shalom, Ashireinu Adonai Elecha, V'nashua Adesh Yameinu Thank you to everyone. Thank you. The choir, thank you. Could you shake your hands? Well done, yeah, well done. Great work. Okay. Oh gosh, you're all walking out. Yeah, no, I'm sure it wasn't personal Kiddish duty calls, so quite understand. So, a few thoughts on our Torah portion, which is a little bit undercooked. As most of you know, I have a very small baby, and doesn't quite leave me the time to develop thoughts quite as length that I would like to, but some thoughts on these quite obscure and strange Torah and Haftarah readings that we read. So, my father Peder, is a secular man, and he rejected his Methodist upbringing a long time ago, and he tends to live in a world of rationality and scepticism, on the whole. He's got one weakness, one exception to this otherwise worldly and analytical outlook. That's making decisions. He puts all his trust in what he sometimes calls the old Chinese man. He doesn't have a life model of Mao Zedong in the cupboard, or doesn't last time I looked anyway. He actually is talking about the I Ching, the Book of Changes, an ancient Chinese, or I think it's Taoist, I believe, text. Anyone familiar with this? Yeah. He's sort of old 60s radical, so this kind of influences why he likes this kind of thing, I think. The way it works, or the way he tells me it works, is that you think of a question that you really want answered, and you take these special coins that come with it, and you roll them, and it gives you a reading, and that reading directs you to a particular page in the I Ching. And to me, it's like Torah, basically. The texts are poetic and rich and complex, and they don't give you a simple answer at all. But they're kind of interesting, and maybe they help you think about things. They certainly require a great deal of interpretation, and I'm still in doubt how he managed to get clear answers from the book. I think when he asked questions like, which internet service provider shall I use? Which he definitely did. So I think maybe slightly more metaphorical ones are better. But anyway, so this section we read today, Tetzaveh, is all about making decisions. It deals with the Hoshen Mishpat, which is this breastplate of judgment, or breastplate of decision, which Aaron the high priest has to wear. And Aaron has both a judge and a high priest, right? So he's got a dual role. And this text probably is not written a million miles away from the era of the I Ching. We're probably talking both 3,000, give or take, 3,000 years old. So we're in the same kind of rough era. And I think in both cases, there's a kind of something like divination, like sorcery, magic, appealing to tarot cards or whatever, like miracles that will give us some kind of future or reading or decision. But it's funny that, because Judaism is not supposed to allow that kind of thing. Judaism is quite down on magic and sorcery. But as we know, the Torah was written, was an evolving document, and there were many earlier layers that later editors didn't really like too much, but couldn't quite edit out because they were part of the canon. So they stay in, and we have this kind of tapestry of ideas from different periods. So this breastplate, no one quite knows how this worked, but it's there's a couple of ideas. So there's two ways we think it made decisions. So if you were reading very carefully, which is quite hard to do because it's quite complex, it's quite technical, you've got these 12 stones arranged in 4 rows, and they represent the 12 tribes of Israel, and they've got a different letter representing each tribe. So one way it worked, possibly, is that a question was raised, and they would light up. A combination that would light up, and the high priest would see the letters and say, okay, it means this phrase. They make an acronym or a meaning, so they would interpret this obscure kind of judgment in some way. Another way is the Urim and Tumim, which was mentioned, which were 2 lights, which probably meant something like innocent or guilty, or yes or no, and you ask them a question and one of them would light up. So it will give you a much more specific binary answer to your question, right? So we've got 2 ways of making decisions. One is an obscure kind of strange combination of letters, which is given a meaning by an authoritative interpreter. So maybe that's a bit like, I don't know, the US Supreme Court. So they've got an ancient document that we don't quite know how it should apply, and they're authorised to give a reading of that. They're authorised to give meaning. and certainly to some kind of versions of Judaism, like the rabbi is authorized to read obscure texts and give you an authorized meaning of it. The Urim and Tumim, however, are giving a simple yes-no answer, ignoring any complexities inherent in the question. It's a little bit like, dare I suggest it, the referendum results. I'm not going to give a Brexit sermon, but I think so. So my thought is that decisions are intrinsically difficult. We kid ourselves that they're based on rationality, on weighing up pros and cons on each side on scales. But in reality, it's completely different. We're guided by instinct and emotion. We take a leap of faith or a leap in the dark. And we metaphorically draw straws, toss coins, and throw dice. And then, having made the decision, we try to convince ourselves it was the right one, even if it means manipulating the evidence. Now, having decisions made by a hereditary high priest, looking at stones lighting up, might not seem like the best way of making decisions. But I'm not sure it's actually worse than any of the other ones. I mean, I think we see the trouble of all kind of methods of making decisions. So the hierarchical randomness here, getting millions of people to make a false binary choice between two options that weren't spelled out in a vote corrupted by undisclosed donors and misinformation doesn't seem that much better. And this kind of binary ruling, it gets subject to interpretation, right? So there's a binary, and then people say, well, I know what the binary meant. And that's like the high priest gets to choose how we read. It's always about how things are read. Things are never outside of context. It's never just stones. So I'm wondering if we can do any better. I'm not actually an elitist. I don't think that we have a crisis of populism, and I don't think we need to have a return to government by the high priest. If nothing else, there isn't one available, unless anyone here happens to be descended from them and wants to step forward. But I think the promise of mass democracy has been undermined, mostly by corporate interests using propaganda and advertising to convince us to vote a certain way, and by governments limiting the choices on which we get to vote to ever more narrow choices. So I'm quite attracted to what's called citizen juries. Have people heard of these? Citizen juries are really interesting. It's like a jury in the sense that a number of people elected at random from the population, and they're brought together to get to know each other, spend time, deliberate, and look at evidence, call witnesses, and come to a decision in some way that will actually be meaningful. And so it's egalitarian, right? There's no hierarchy, they were picked at random. It's quite hard to corrupt because they're not politicians and they're not doing it for a long time. And there's just something deliberative. They actually listen and they actually kind of, in theory at least, kind of learn something. I think it's quite exciting. So it was used in Ireland in preparation. It led to the abortion referendum in Ireland, which legalised abortion. And it actually took a lot of the heat out of it. They brought ordinary people together to think about the issues and to hear each other in a respectful way. I've seen it done, a trial version done for the Brexit debate, and I think their report is actually quite amazing. It really puts Parliament to shame, the level of subtlety and nuance that it brings by ordinary people listening. And one of the ways it does it is by rejecting a binary choice and saying multiple options. Okay, you want this, but if you can't have that, what do you want? If you can't have that, what do you want? And you drill down to get to some kind of conceptual position. But I think that's really, really interesting. And I think the kind of ideas like binary in our culture is really dangerous. Like we're used to the two-party system, a voting lobby with aye and a no, right? A referendum where there's two questions, and life isn't binary. It never really is two options. There's always how within those binaries, what do you want, right? So I like to think that there's a Jewish equivalent to that, which is later than the Torah and the Urim and Turim. I think this is the model of the Talmud, of the Beit Midrash, of the Yeshiva, and it's called machloket. Everyone knows machloket is disagreement, is dispute, is differing opinions, and that is really fundamental to traditional rabbinic Torah study. It was originally done by an elite of males, of male-educated Jews, like Athenian democracy was, but I think it can be expanded. But what's great about it is it's not about the decision, it's about the process. It's about how you get to it, it's about the thinking. And in many ways, the decision is still a moment of madness. But the rational thing is how you think about it. and how you actually engage with each other. And if you look at the kind of halakhic codes, like if you think of the Shulchan Aruch or the Mishnah Brura, these are the kind of things that Orthodox Jews traditionally now use to regulate every aspect of life, which tells you just it's a rule book what to do in every given circumstance. They're not interesting in the same way that the Talmud is interesting, because the Talmud records every minority opinion, every possibility, and that's where the excitement of Judaism is, I think, in the Beis HaMidrash, in the yeshiva. And if people experienced it, I really recommend it. The Conservative Yeshiva is a great place to go if you want an egalitarian experience in Jerusalem. But there are places here, a thing called the Open Talmud Project, which I helped to found some years ago. You can get a sense of this kind of hustle and bustle, and people are arguing in the same room, and it's quite forceful but also respectful. And we're with the text, but we're bringing ourselves. We're bringing ourselves to it as well. So I think the key thing is on the way to make that decision, we find out about each other and the shades of grey that exist between black and white, innocent and guilty, yes and no. We get a decision gets made, but it's not definitive. It's just a snapshot of that moment. On a different day, it would have been different. It's a jump into the unknown with the best that we can ever do at that time. So the high priest reading the stone interprets their meaning, which really means looking into his own heart, into his own instincts, into his own beliefs, to choose, to jump one way or the other. Through collective decision-making, either yeshiva or citizens' juries in the Beit Midrash, we look in the hearts of each other, offering diverse instincts. We bring our diverse instincts, our drives and our dreams. And in the end we make a decision, different than one each of us would have made on our own. We jump together and collectively take the plunge, whichever that leads us. So that's my conclusion. It's not particularly like one way or the other, because I don't think one can, but it's just a way to think about this ancient process of choice. Does anyone want to offer their own thoughts on this?
If the juries are selected at random,
Yeah.
How is it? There's a chance that everyone could be on one side or the other, not necessarily.
So some things have done it where they did avoided that. I think Brexit, when I mentioned, they didn't do that. So that they did poll broadly for or against. But when you have a jury, it usually works out randomness on a divisive issue, which is roughly 50-50. The chances are it will work out, and there'll be sufficient nuance. There's something quite attractive about the randomness, I think, that if it was more specified, we wouldn't get that sense of it could be you. Go on.
I think it could be very useful for certain things. I mean, because the idea of a jury is that you consider all of the evidence,
Yeah.
not just that which you've already ascribed to.
And we sort of hopefully trust each other. We say, oh, those people were just like me, they did it seriously, and hopefully I trust them. More than even people who don't trust the government or trust politicians, they might trust each other. And that's it's an important thing to build trust amongst people. We need that, I think. Okay, no, you want to say something?
Sometimes the voices of majority could be wrong, and the voices of minority could be.
I totally agree, and Judaism agrees with you. Judaism is all about sometimes preserving minority voices.
That's why we need to take account about the voice of Holy Spirit, which is to live and to live. It's not the voice of humankind emotions, human intelligence, but it came from above in our faith.
Okay, thank you. For me, that kind of voice, the divine voice, comes through our interactions and comes through a serious engagement with tradition and each other. And we find something that isn't particular to you or me, but we find it, it's maybe a slightly different way of looking at it to you, but I think it comes the same thing. And hopefully by dialectic, by either in the yeshiva or citizens' jury, we don't just go with majority. You actually hear the minority voice and you hear each other, and you say to each other, what could you live with? Like, not what do you really want, but what's your bottom line, what do you need, what's really important to you? And it's going beyond that kind of true majoritarianism, which I agree is kind of a bit of a problem. Okay. Silence. So it's just some thoughts, but I do think these quite difficult Torah portions, there's interesting things that one can kind of pull out, and I do think sometimes the most interesting is kind of what is not obviously leaping out on the page to us. So we're going to continue now. We're going to continue with the Aleinu, please, which is on page 520. Am I right?
Yes.
I am right. If you're comfortable to rise, please rise. Aleinu l'shaveh Adon hakol, latet gdula lioseh b'reishit, asher sam chalkeinu lekayed et shemo, v'gor aleinu lahamlik malchuto, v'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. Shehu notei shamayim v'yoseh haaretz, u'moshav yekaro b'shamayim mima'al, u'shchinatu zo b'govei maromim, hu Eloheinu einot, emet malkeinu efes ulato, kakatu v'torato, yadata hayom ve'ashevota elevaveha, ki Adonai hu ha'Elohim, v'shamayim ima'al, ve'al ha'aretz mitachateno. Let's read together on page 521 in English. Trusting in you, eternal God, we hope soon to behold the glory of your might, when false gods will vanish from our hearts, and idolatry cease forever. Help us to perfect the world by bringing it under your unshadowed rule, when all will invoke your name, relinquish evil, and turn to your own. May all who will on earth know that to you every knee must bend and every tongue swear loyalty. Before you let them humble themselves, until your glorious name let them be known. Let all submit your sovereign, let that time come soon and last forever. For ultimate sovereignty is yours, and all eternity will reign in glory, as it is written, eternal one shall reign forever. V'nema v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol ha'aretz, Bayom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shamo echad. Creator of the universe, give us life, in which joys and sorrows are commingled in accordance with your wisdom. You send death that promise eternal peace. Teach us to accept humbly and courageously whatever burden is laid upon us. Comfort those who mourn, and let the light of faith illumine the darkness of their sorrow with hope of immortality. Strengthen us at all times in unfailing trust in your providence. And at this time, we're remembering our member David Bromberg, who passed away yesterday. And also, the artsites at this time, Cyril Conway, husband of Irene Conway, Bernard Himmelfarb, father of Linda Pace, Bernard Joseph, husband of Louise Joseph, Philip Kaplan, husband of Jacqueline Kaplan, Anne Simmons, mother of Cynthia Green, Mark Travis, father of Kenneth Travis. Anyone else?
Yes, I might say somebody that was a member of the Shaw, Judith Kish. She died a long time ago, but I want to remember.
Thank you. Andrew Levy, yes. Novelist. Thank you. May all their memories be for a blessing. Let's remember them in the words of the college on page 524. Yikadal Yikadash Shemei Baba Ralmal Kivraki Utei Yom Nikmakutei V'hayet Chon Yom Echon V'hayet Chol Beit Yisrael V'agavad Zman Karib Imru Amen Yirei Shemei Rabba V'rak V'olam Habayah
יתגל יתעלה יתעלה מקדושה ורכות. לעילה מכל גחתה ושירתה, ומשפחתה ונחמתה, דמיה וימה ואמרו אמן. תהא שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, והוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ועל כל בני אדם, ואמרו אמן.
Please be seated. Do anyone know how they're doing downstairs?
Oh,
Don't worry, I mean, like,
I think we're safe. We're within the time frame.
oh yeah. Great. I just wanted to do a slow tune or a fast tune, which is always a stipulation.
Slow tune.
No, you're fast.
The extended version.
So we'll do the tune that I've done many times here, which is based on the Yiddish song Ala Brida, which is quite upbeat. So 525 Adon Alam. Adon Alam Hashem Allah, ay ay Hashem Allah, b'terem kol yatzin nivra, ay ay ay. Liet nasa b'chesakol, ay ay b'chesakol, azay melech shemo nikra, ay ay ay. Ve'acharei hiklat hakol, Lava'adoyim lot nora, V'hu haya, V'hu horei, V'hu yiyeh b'tifara, V'hu echad ve'en sheni, ay ay ve'en sheni, L'cham shilo l'chak bira, ay ay ay. Beli reshit, beli taklit, ay ay, beli taklit, v'lo ha'ot, v'hamizrah, ay ay ay. V'hu eli, v'hagoli, v'tzochev li, v'etzara, v'hu nisi, u'manosi, v'matnosi, v'yom ekra. Ya'ado av kidruchi ve'etishan ve'ya'ira ve'imruchi gaviati Adonai li v'lo iram. Mishken et shemo b'bayit hazeh hu yashkin b'nechem ahava v'achava v'shalom v're'ut. May the one whose presence dwells in this house cause love and harmony, peace and friendship to dwell amongst us. Shalom.
Shalom. Before we go downstairs for Kiddush, we're having a good time. First of all, I'm sure you want to join me in thanking Joseph for a wonderful, high energy, I would say, service. I'm actually exhausted, but but thank you. It was just an absolute pleasure, and I believe you've got another gig, shall we say, next month, which I'm looking forward to already. So thank you, Joseph. And I just thought a couple more services coming up. This Friday, I'm actually hosting a service. But it's a no-ticket affair because of the obviously popularity. But rather than going through an agent, you can go direct through me with no booking fee. So if anyone's interested in coming along, please let me know. You're more than welcome. And next week we've got Nathan back. So again, just another.
Joseph too.
Yeah, Joseph will be. Joseph will be in his usual position, directing the music. But thank you again. And I believe the time now 25 past, so just about finishing there. Shabbat shalom. Well,
But that's Hassan Kids, isn't it?
yeah,
What's the name of the mother? The emanation.
yes.
I see. Yeah, I just want to make it too.
Thank you.
Yeah, but we haven't. Which day? I think we said there would be one from the Archbishop. I'll let you know. Okay, I probably. Okay. If you have a look at the power level,
the kids really had to come into it. I won't say what they did say.
Is that your daughter again?
Yeah.
What's your daughter's name? Riley. I want to say hi to her. Hi, what's up? It was lovely to have them here. It's always a gift to have them here. Oh, it's so nice. Like, we always encourage it. Oh, God. I'm sorry I didn't think the report. I said to you, I just don't have so that's cute.
No, the sabbatical has been wonderful. Nathan is terrific. Lev is lovely. John Rayner. Looks like his
So Jewish. Like your upbringing. Yes, it was great. Yes, I agree.
Don't forget your scarf.
Thank you. I've got my tunnel show with me. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. My baby is exhausted. Nothing is exhausting as a baby. Frankly. Anything is easily personal. It's alright. You're good at joining in. I appreciate your. Not everyone's as much as you, so I appreciate that. Yeah. Maybe there. I don't know if you feel. Maybe there are some teams you know from other communities. I think often people have been around in different. I think everyone's only human. I think in an ideal world, I think a move is like, often like if you go to a new community, you get really. There are ways, like if you had a regular study, do regular Talmud study, that can be. Yeah, we're all human. He was a pretty special guy. Yeah, he was a really interesting guy.
I am not sure. I'm not sure if I'm seeing him around the city anymore.
You still know that?
Terrific.
Yes. Thank you so much. Yes. Not a full member of Jewish church minister. But ex-church minister. For the moment, I
didn't want to be doing it. I wasn't campaigning, but I was just trying to explore the issue.
I already follow Judaism because Christianity, the roots of Christianity, they are in Judaism.
I know. It's like an offshoot, really.
Offspring. So I have nothing. I think it's a mix.
I always enjoy myself. It's great fun.
Yes. Saturday I'm going to I come to the synagogue. Sunday morning to the church. Yes, it's a good connection.
Good.
Hebrew for me is very important. And Greek. Because Greek is the language of the New Testament.
You do. Yes, you do.
The only one who is clever is Amish. We are
back next month. I actually don't know off the top of my head, but like will be in the listing.
I'm John the Baptist.
No, it's so nice to have kids. We have to, whenever they're here, we're going to do everything. Guys, we've got to get down. Okay, right. Sorry, pop my language.
Hopefully I'll be
I'm not going to miss you.
Take care.
Thank you so much.
All the best. Nice Saturday.
All the best to you.
Yes, yeah. There's something like light as well, you know.
You're right. Yes.
You want to go down?
Yes. I'm just putting these away.
Oh, right.
They're rather precious.
No problem.
Yeah.
I hold it. For my friend,
Yeah,
my neighbor friend.
yeah. And Louise, I'm seeing that. Thank you very much. Thank you. If you can work with it, that's good.
Going down the phone, yeah?